I'm sure some of the folks in the chat or listening at home are union members. Now, behind me, I have my union posters. I have union posters throughout my room, of course, because I'm from a union family. My dad is a railroad engineer, the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers and Trainmen. That union allowed me to, and me and my brothers, go to the schools that we did, move to Central Bucks. I became the first in my family to go to college and get a degree. Now I'm also the first person in my family to go to an Ivy League school. My brothers are both going to college. We have had all these opportunities. We had healthcare growing up because of my dad's work and because of the union representing him and the collective bargaining of those union members. And of course, my mom helping out too, of course, but for the sake of this conversation, unions, specifically the union that my dad is in, is what allowed and catapulted us into being able to be self-sufficient and have the opportunities that we have. So here is Nikki Haley, who has theoretically skyrocketed, pretty close to Vivek Ramaswamy's third place in the Republican primary. Of course, Ron DeSanctimonious falling all the way down to about 12%. And Donald Trump, of course, holding his significant lead over the remainder of the field. Nikki Haley goes on Fox News with Neil Cavuto to say this line, which if I was Joe Biden, I would be using it in an ad today.
Well, I think that's it tells you that when you have the most pro-union president and he touts that he is emboldening the unions, this is what you get. And I'll tell you who pays for it is the taxpayers. You know, here, from what I understand, the union is asking for a 40% raise. The companies have
over multiple years
come back,
and it was 36%.
For the 20% raise. I think any of the taxpayers would love to have a 20% raise and think that's great. But, the problem is we're all going to suffer.
Actually, more people would get larger raises if they had union representation. But of course, the Republican Party, Nikki Haley included, has eroded the support of labor since 1980 and specifically led to stagnated wages. And of course, they don't care about the middle class. They don't care about the working class. They don't care about the blue collar workers. They don't care about any of that stuff because they care about Ford, GM, and Chrysler. But of course, the UAW that is fighting for these wage increases, they're fighting to get what they had back. They're fighting back from what they had in 2008, 2009, stripped away from them. Stripped away from them. Their pension stripped away from them, creating a two-tier class system that anyone hired after 2009 was on the second tier. You're not getting the same benefits. You're not getting the same pension. You're not getting the same wages. You're not getting the same salary increases. You're not getting the same overtime benefits. You're not getting the same healthcare benefits because they cut it. Because if you don't recall, in 2008 and 2009, we had the Great Recession where the crash of the economy led to the United States government, the taxpayers that Nikki Haley is saying that we all want to have a pay increase. Of course we do. But those same taxpayers that had extremely high rates of unemployment bailed out the big three auto manufacturers. And now the workers, they're due for a new contract. And they deserve a contract that is fair, that pays them well, and provides them with retirement benefits. And you know what? You don't want to pay them? Okay, then you're not going to sell any cars. That's the point. Solidarity at this point in the United States, and I'm sure that there are some people out there that don't believe in this and have at it. But solidarity at this point is at an all-time high, at least in the modern era. And people are recognizing that you need to be collectively bargaining. You have to come together and say, together, we can fight against unfair labor practices. And you know what? I think that I believe in the radical notion, the same as Franklin Delano Roosevelt, that every worker should have the right to unionize. Every worker should have the right to unionize. And you know what? Because it's funny, is because I can already hear the claims coming in. Oh, socialism, communism. But actually, supporting unions supports frankly, at best, social democracy. And at like medium, just outright capitalism. It just puts the power into the hands of labor as well. It's not single-handedly saying the boss has all the power. Because guess what? Did Jeff Bezos make every single widget that is sold on Amazon? Did he code every little piece of Amazon's back end that's actually how they make their money, collecting information on you? No, of course not. As Bernie Sanders said in the 2020 election, I think his workers would disagree that Jeff Bezos is solely responsible for the creation of what is the business, the company, Amazon. So the workers they deserve to have equal rights and representation. That doesn't mean that it should be paid the exact same across the board. That's not what they're saying. But they should have a fair wage, and they should be able to collectively bargain for better benefits. Also, Will says the UAW doesn't support Biden. The UAW is strategically withholding its endorsement until they get a contract, and then they will support President Biden. I can guarantee you that, because they are most certainly not going to support Trump. I can guarantee you that. That is 100%. I don't know if there's any more of this clip.
This is going to cause things to go up. And
this is going to cause things to go up. Of course, we can't pay labor more. We want to... Raise your hand if you want to support American businesses. Raise your hand if you want to support American workers. Raise your hand if you want to buy American goods. Well, I got good news for you. You can do that. You can support Ford, Chrysler, and GM. You can support these companies. But guess what? If you want those companies to be claiming patriotism, they have to pay the freaking workers a fair wage. That is not a crazy thing to ask. In fact, that is the most basic thing that you could ask. It is fundamental to a successful middle class, successful working class, rising out of poverty, alleviating poverty overall in a country, and creating a functional, less prone to recession economy. Empowering labor creates way less concentration at the top.
You know, this is going to last a while. But, you know, when you have a president that's constantly saying, go union, this is what you get. The unions get emboldened, and then they start asking for things that, you know, that companies have a tough time doing. Well,
just so we know, in 2022, Ford Motor Company made $25.509 in gross profit. Just in the quarter ended June 30th, 2023, they had $7.48 billion in gross profit. So you're telling me gross profit, that includes direct labor. You're telling me that they can't afford to pay their workers more? That, of course, ignores the fact that the CEO did get a 40% raise. Yeah, no, we can't have the same. Come on. Why would we do that?